Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Guiding Keys podcast. I am Master Latrix, and I am joined by Dalin1016. Say hi.
Hello.
Iron Clark
Hiyo.
and Phoenix Burst.
What's up?
Today, we're going to be talking about what we want to see from Kingdom Hearts 4, our wants, our hopes, specifically from a gameplay perspective, not so much from a story predictions, but more so just what we want to see from the game, what characters we'd like to see appear, what kind of worlds we'd like to see, what kind of gameplay mechanics we'd like to see, but no story predictions, just what we want to see from the game. So would anybody like to start?
Well, I think I'll go ahead and start because I feel it because I'm the only one that actually put down some notes for this.
Go for it.
Okay, so I've got 5 things here that I really want to see, but we're gonna start off with characters. We're not talking about story or anything like that, just characters that I want to see. So right now I've got 3. I want to see, because we didn't get that climactic battle between Cloud and Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 3 like I was anticipating, to be honest. I don't think I was the only one, but I want to see them come back. Maybe new outfits, maybe in a new version of some kind, but I want to see how that fight ends. And plus the Sephiroth boss fight, always fun.
To build off of that, I would love to have Sephiroth return back as a super boss again as well, because I love 3, but I felt like the super bosses weren't nearly as interesting as 2 and 1, and just to have Sephiroth return as the super boss that everyone knows about and everyone fears would be I enjoy it. It's a nice to have him come back.
Yeah, I think at this point Sephiroth is like an iconic part of the Kingdom Hearts series in terms of being a secret boss. Even though it's only in 2 games, but still everybody knows those 2 fights in the Kingdom Hearts series and how crazy they are. So it'd be really cool to have that come back again.
And we did get 2 really cool Keyblades out of it too. So I am always down for another Final Fantasy Keyblade.
I definitely think it would be really cool to see Sephiroth appear again, but I think maybe this is just from a me perspective, but I would only really want him to show up as a secret boss again if they actually had new ideas for the boss fight itself, because we already had 2 boss fights against Sephiroth using a lot of mechanics and a lot of abilities, and I think if they're going to bring Sephiroth back a 3rd time, you got to make sure the fight itself is distinct enough from the other 2 to make it worth doing again. So
and that might be one of the reasons why they didn't have him come back in 3, was because that they might not have thought of a way to refresh the battle, as it were. At least not yet.
Right. Here's hoping maybe with Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out soon, we might get some new Sephiroth moments that they can pull from for an awesome, round 3 Sephiroth boss fight in Kingdom Hearts. But I don't know. I also think, if we're gonna get more Final Fantasy super bosses, because I would love more Final Fantasy super bosses, I think it would actually be cool if we got some secret bosses from other Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Especially, honestly, with the Kingdom Hearts 4 team working so closely with the Final Fantasy 16 team, I wouldn't. That would be a very cool kind of crossover to fight a secret boss from that game.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
Do you know what else would be cool? If we got to fight one of those big titans like Phoenix, Ifrit, Shiva. It'd be cool to fight something like that,
I think maybe a fight against Clive where he could actually transform into Ifrit as part of the battle.
Oh,
That would be amazing.
that would be
yeah.
cool.
And I think so both games are on I mean, Final Fantasy 16's on UE5. I'm pretty sure, right?
I believe it is.
So I mean, at least I mean, there would still be like a good like transitioning process, but it would be easier to transition it from Final Fantasy 16 over to a Kingdom Hearts 4 secret boss.
And actually, on that Final Fantasy 16 note, that actually brings me into my main thing of what I really want to see from Kingdom Hearts 4.
That's what we call a natural segue, kids.
Well, not anymore. Thanks for breaking that. But what I really want to see is when they were actually showing off the icon battles in Final Fantasy 16, they were specifically talking about how each battle is unique in terms of both like visuals but also in terms of the actual gameplay mechanics of the fight themselves. Like one of them is like an on-rail shooter, another one is like a wrestling match, another one is, we've got all kinds of different styles of gameplay for these big icon battles. And something I really want to see from Kingdom Hearts 4 is more variety of gameplay styles, specifically in the boss fights, because I think it's fair to say that what makes Kingdom Hearts like really stand out in terms of the gameplay side of things. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts is very well known for its characters and for its story, but I think in terms of the gameplay itself, what really sets Kingdom Hearts apart is its boss fights. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because usually, and Dolan, you can correct me on this. Usually, that's the first thing that gets the randomizer treatment is the boss fights, right?
Well, strictly speaking, no. The chest randomizers are typically a lot easier to do because they're all in like a single like loot table, and it's just randomizing which line is in which line or whatever, like which object is which in which line of text or whatever. But other than that, yeah, that's a big priority for the randomizers. They do try to get bosses done as quickly as possible.
So, yeah, I mean, if we're all in agreement that the boss fights are sort of like the big defining aspect of Kingdom Hearts in terms of gameplay, obviously in terms of story and characters, Kingdom Hearts is very iconic in its own way, but it's very well known for its boss fights. So I would love to see them take that Final Fantasy 16 approach. And given that the Kingdom Hearts team has been working on the game, I'm hoping that their working on Final Fantasy 16 has been, I don't know, sort of a learning experience for them in terms of branching out with different gameplay styles. They've toyed around with it in the Kingdom Hearts games before, but never really to the extent that they've shown Final Fantasy 16 is going with. And I would love to just see more experimentation and variety with the boss mechanics and the gameplay styles in Kingdom Hearts 4 and just the series going forward in general.
Lay, stop me if this is too theorizing, but you mentioned that, and then the more a while back said that something has changed the direction of Kingdom Hearts. I wonder if that is correlated to them working on Final Fantasy 16 change their projection on how they'll go about the combat in Final Fantasy 4 or in Kingdom Hearts 4 with stuff like that. Just grabbing two random things out of the air and putting them together here. But
I really hadn't thought of that, and that's actually a really good correlation. Obviously, I can't confirm whether or not that's what he meant, but
pure speculation at this moment. We probably will will never know, but
that would actually make a lot of sense, though, in terms of like something happened fairly recently that sort of determined the direction of the series going forward. Was maybe their work on Final Fantasy 16 kind of had them decide, like, yeah, this is the direction we want to take it.
Yeah.
While we're on that, I'm gonna ever so smoothly transition into what my next point is for what I want to see. So, for this one, it's like it doesn't really matter which one we get, but I would like to see a return of either one. Form changes and drive forms. Now, when you think Kingdom Hearts 2, one of the first things you think of is drive forms, because that's whenever you start out with Sora, you get Valor form. Not too much later, you get Wisdom, etc., etc. And they're all really cool forms that play all differently. And it was something that was really cool to experiment with. And the game even encouraged that by giving you special abilities that required you to level up these certain forms. And it would be cool to see that return, but it would also be cool to see form changes return, just to how creative they can be when it comes to the Keyblades. Like, looking at Smile Gear, it goes from Keyblade to Claws to Yo-Yo. And
Yeah.
then from
Yeah.
Honey Spout, it goes from Honey Blasters that shoot out bullets that slow down enemies to a blaster that does the same thing, just with more damage. And I think that stuff,
Yeah,
it just really changed the gameplay, and I think it's really cool.
I definitely agree. I just this is my own opinion here, but I'm actually, and this is probably going to be a controversial opinion, and that's fine.
Get your
You're welcome
stakes
to
out, people.
disagree. And that's it. I tend to prefer the form change system in Kingdom Hearts 3 compared to the drive system in Kingdom Hearts 2, and I could explain why. It more so just comes down to, I think it's more naturally integrated into the gameplay flow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree
where I
with
would
Leo
agree
on
with
that.
that.
And as far as style points as well, like the form changes were more emphasized on just the form I'm sorry, the dry forms were more emphasized on just a set gameplay style or a set way, like magic based, fighting based, But with the form changes, the focus was all on the Keyblade itself. I would, for me, I would like to see a little bit more of a merger, because I felt like the Sora outfit part of the whole thing was lost on me a little bit. Like, I was always looking at the Keyblade. Sora's outfit was changed ever so slightly. It was only the big ones that I noticed big changes, of course, with double form and Ultima form. But definitely the focus was mainly on the Keyblades, and that was more eye drawing. Period.
Yeah, I will say that I know a big complaint with the form change system in Kingdom Hearts 3 was it's kind of just free, and like there's no like cost to anything. And I kind of understand that perspective, so I wouldn't mind if they added some kind of cost to it, if it's like tied to a focus gauge or something. But I think just the way it's integrated is just super smooth and makes it more natural and interesting, and makes you actually want to use it more.
Yeah, I think the other thing about the drive forms, I think the issue that I have with the drive forms is just because it's a separate system from the Keyblades, you're almost in Kingdom Hearts 2, you're almost never, unless you're grinding for something very specific, you're almost never picking a Keyblade based on its abilities. You're purely just going to pick whichever one has the best stats.
Or looks cool.
Yeah.
Depending on how good at the game you are. Which, for me, I'm bad at the game. I just pick Keyblade that look cool.
Whereas in Kingdom Hearts 3, every form is unique. And so every form, you're still obviously going to have your favorites, the ones that you prefer, the ones that you don't really care for, but every Keyblade has a reason to be used. There's a different gameplay style with every single one. Even if they have similar form changes, the form that Sora goes into might have different abilities, so they would still play differently. Like the shooting star blasters and launcher versus the honey spout blasters and launcher. One of them gives you more magic focused abilities, whereas the other one gives you more defense focused abilities. And even though they're basically the same transformations, they drastically change the way that you use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same goes for like Hero's Origin and Grand Chef. They're both really good Keyblades. The counter shield form is busted in terms of like defense and everything. And I like using Grand Chef more, even though it's harder to get or takes longer to get, because I like the finisher more. But some people don't mind the finisher of Hero's Origin, and it's nice to have that option And although they're basically the exact same thing, um, having the option is good for gameplay variety.
Right, right. I definitely think we're gonna get some variation of form changes in Kingdom Hearts 4.
Well-
I don't think they're gonna just outright remove that mechanic.
I
It might.
think. Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to kind of lead into the one thing that we do know that they at least worked on during the trailer was the build mechanic.
The
Where
scrap and
sword-
build, yeah.
Yeah, the scrap
Right.
and build. So I was almost wondering if that is going to be our Kingdom Hearts 4 weapon, or the gimmick. Just call it what it is. Unfortunately, I hate
Yeah.
the word gimmick. It's really
Oh,
negative
yeah.
connotation, but the feature. I'll call it the feature.
Mechanic.
The mechanic.
I think it's going to be. My theory currently is it's going to be the equivalent of summoning.
That's a
um,
possibility too.
And it
yeah.
might be
That is a
some
possibility.
kind of resource dependent in some way, maybe. But I think in terms of form changes, I think those are gonna stay mostly the same as they are in KH3. And
Yeah.
I feel like the scrap and build, just the way the very little we know about it, it makes me think it may be the summoning equivalent.
If I had to guess off the top of my head what scrap and build might be, is maybe rather than each Keyblade having its own dedicated form changes, you can collect certain resources to sort of create different constructs to turn your Keyblades into. So instead of having them directly tied like they were in KH3, it's sort of you collect resources, you can create your own form changes for your Keyblade that you can
Instead of
use when you
being-
want.
Yeah, instead of being forced that the Kingdom Key can only send you into second form and third form, or second form, but instead you could have the Kingdom Key transform into arrow guns. Is kind of what a more simplified way, right? Is that you'll be able to choose what attachments you want.
You know,
onto
Not
that's
really,
a really
because what I'm seeing is like when we saw like the big drill attack that he did in the trailer, right? I can only assume that is something to do with the scrap and build mechanic.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the way it looked was, it almost looked like he was kind of making like a light projection around the Keyblade. So forgive me for making a comparison to a game that just recently came out, but I'm almost thinking of it in terms of like the auto build with the Zonite from Tears of the Kingdom, where you can sort of expend the Zonite to create Zonite devices.
Yeah, I
Straight up.
definitely think the scrap and build mechanic, if it's not tied to form change at all, it will be something that we use that requires material. And actually thinking about it, the form change is really something that existed before Kingdom Hearts 3, with the fight against Lingering Will. So that
the
might
ultimate
not
canon,
be.
yeah.
Well, I mean, even then,
Birthright Sleep had that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Birthright
with-
Sleep and Command Styles.
with command styles is basically the like precursor to form changes as they worked in Kingdom Hearts 3. They're basically the exact same system.
you
Yeah,
also
so
have
they
the Link attacks and Dream Drop Distance.
they
Oh,
may
yeah.
not completely scrap the form changes just because it's had such a foundation that they have built upon ever since Lingering Will. So that might be something that just stays. I would just really like to see the Kingdom Key get some more uniqueness. While I did like second form, I did feel like its impact was not nearly as cool as some of the other forms, but it is the base one. But I like using base weapons in games. I'm weird like that.
That's fair. I think the thing with Kingdom Key is that it doesn't, the design of it doesn't really suit itself for any kind of transformation,
Yeah,
as opposed to the other Kingdom
It's-
Hearts 3 Keyblades.
It's
So-
very basic. It's meant to be.
So, okay, two things, I guess. The first one is just a question. Because you were talking about second form for a minute, and so just a simple question. Do you think Kingdom Hearts 4 will follow in Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3's stead and give us like a third form, sort of like we had Limit form in KH2 and second form in KH3?
I think so. It's become
Absolutely, I think
become
so.
a tradition, really.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, and somebody please correct me on this, but I believe there was an interview in saying that Strelitzia was the one who gave Sora the new clothes. So, in order for him to fit better, so the fact that Sora will probably revert back to his Kingdom Hearts 3 clothes, maybe when he goes back to his reality, pure speculation, but he still has them. But I do think that we will see a third form equivalent, a limit form equivalent for the Kingdom Hearts 3 clothing style. And I was going to use that as a jumping off point to an idea I had, but I'm going to let you say your second point, Lay.
Yeah, so the other thing was, going back to Scrap and Build for a second, I think back to Yazora's boss fight.
Yes.
And how he was using all of these, like, hard light constructs in his battle. And I can only assume, given that Quadratum is supposed to be Yazora's world, or, well, whatever world Yazora's currently in, maybe not the one he's from. But I can only assume, then, that the scrap and build mechanic is going to be something similar to that regard. And
That's exactly what I think, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And seeing
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Seeing the big drill that Sora turns the Kingdom Key into only sort of solidifies that in my mind. Because it seems like a Sora's take on Yazora's abilities.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is actually, I don't think, at least at first impression, I don't think that's the same thing. That, to me, it just looked like part of the reaction command, but maybe I'm wrong.
That's also entirely possible. I could be completely off base there, and that's all that is.
So real quick, while you were talking about that, I was thinking about like what scrap and build could possibly be, and I was thinking about an idea popped in my head. It's not a very good one, but hear me out. What if scrap and build is linked to the command, like where you can gather enough parts and you can do a command that relates to how many pieces you have or parts or whatever have you, and the more you have, the bigger the attack.
I mean, again, I think I'm on with Dalin's side here, where it's going to be something akin to a summoning system. I just think instead of summoning characters, we're going to be creating some sort of constructs.
And that makes me think, linking the Kingdom Hearts universe with Quadratum to again to Zelda concept here with Hyrule and Termina from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, right? There, people pointed out that in Termina, like Quadratum, Termina is more closer to technology focused. There's not as an emphasis on magic. Same thing with Kingdom Hearts and
I suppose. I mean,
it's very vague. I'm pulling connections out the air again, but what I'm kind of getting towards is that there, we might see a lot more technology or difference or abilities that are very different than what we've seen Sora use, because he might not be able to have access to those abilities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. You saying that transitions directly into what I was going to ask next, which is with Quadratum being the world of Verum Rex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we will be seeing Gigases in this game, and do you think that we will have Gigas gameplay in this game?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems too easy to just let it slide,
So here's the question then. And this sort of leads into what I want to see from the game. When I was talking about like different gameplay styles, this kind of goes back on that. Is I would love to see, if we're going to have Quadratum be a major focus and have Gigases presumably have a more larger focus in the game. I would love to see them really develop a proper mech control system as opposed to what we got in Kingdom Hearts 3, like a proper real mech gameplay system.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the level of like Armored Core or something, but something that feels more like you're really controlling this giant machine rather than just kind of walking around in a big suit.
Yeah, and they probably, they're probably laying the groundwork in 3 to further work on that in 4, and that might also be a bit with Clive transforming into the icons. It'd be kind of similar.
That would definitely be cool. I just really hope if we get Gigasus back, and I'm almost sure we will.
Oh yeah,
that we get a real expansion on that mech gameplay because.
I feel like the Gigases, or at least that they might end up being our new enemy equivalents, or at least I feel like they're going to have a far more important, at least in the Quadratum side of Kingdom Hearts 4.
I don't know about that. I actually kind of think, if anything, Gigasus might be our new like gummy ship replacement.
Ooh, I
That's
like
what
that
I
as
was
well.
thinking.
I like,
Yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
I like that as well. Never mind. I rescind my theory. And I take yours and run away with it.
But I'm just saying, like, I just really hope because Kingdom Hearts 3, it had the mech gameplay, but it was really basic. It was really simple.
Oh yeah,
You know, it was kind of clunky. It didn't feel very refined. It didn't feel like it was
It was a world gimmick. It wasn't a
Yeah.
main.
it was a
gameplay.
mini game
right.
at best. Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that for Kingdom Hearts 4, if they bring back these Gigases, they really hone in on and expand that mech gameplay. We get a real proper mech control system for the Gigases. To really make you feel like you're, piloting this giant walking tank, essentially.
And you
Yeah.
know what? If they do work on that, transitioning this into another thing here, we're all fairly certain that Star Wars is going to be in this game thanks to the trailer.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If
They would not have put that there
Yeah.
for no reason.
if they spend a lot of time working on the mech stuff with the Gigasus and Quadratum, ships are a very important thing in Star Wars. Sword driving an AT-AT would be fucking hilarious.
We did see that ATST, presumably ATST foot, and that is technically a type of mech, so it would be really cool to actually
True.
have
Yeah.
Sora piloting an ATST.
It might be that going back to the scrap and build mechanic, maybe there are some items and everything that you could build the mech as the summoning item. You could summon the mech to drive.
So you could
That
summon
would
an
be
ATST in
cool.
any other world. That would be kind
Yeah.
of cool, actually.
Maybe that's what the scrap and build is like you're building different types of Gigases that have different like weapons attached to them and stuff.
Mhm, and you get
Those are your
different materials
summons.
for-
Mhm.
Yeah,
You heard it here first, folks.
But
write this down on your calendars.
and
Write it
to even
down.
go into that, that could be our replacement for the gummy building, where you can actually build and customize your own Gigas, augment it with different weapons, augment it,
And
I can
that
imagine
would-
the abominations now.
Look, so long
The
as they don't
same
put
stuff.
Koroks in this game, we're fine.
The same
No,
stuff
you're
that
finding
they put
Chirithees.
in. Oh,
You're finding
no.
Chirithees.
I need to reach my wielder.
Oh God.
Are we going to be crucifying Chirithees? That's the question.
I hope not.
They did nothing wrong.
They did
maybe,
everything wrong.
Maybe Brains Charity. Maybe Brains Charity, but not. but,
Nightmare Chirithee did everything wrong. Excuse you.
True.
He's the only one we can crucify.
Yeah, but no, and that could also replace the attraction flow as well.
Yeah, that's
Because-
one mechanic
Yeah.
that I would not miss getting rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I did
I
enjoy
think-
it occasionally when it first happened. Honestly, I think the one attraction flow that I did enjoy, and we only used it 2 times if memory serves,
Was the train.
was the train against the
Yeah.
the army of
It's
a
on the
billion Heartless and the Rock
and the
Titan,
Rock
right?
Titan.
And you know what? That goes straight back to what I was saying about unique boss fight mechanics, where I think
Exactly.
if the
Yep.
attractions played more like that throughout the entire game, where they were specific mechanics tied to specific encounters rather than just these random pop-ups, they'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
boat one against the bosses in Caribbean.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been more expansive. Like, you could literally have made an attraction of the boat and literally gotten into, like, naval combat with that against, you know, the Flying Dutchman or something. Like, that would have been so much cooler than what
Yeah.
we got.
Yeah, and you know the accidental button press and summoning it was always.
I was just about to get into that too.
Yeah.
Guys like, oh, Donald, let's do the flare. And next thing you know, a ship is coming out of the effing ground.
I
Yeah.
think the attraction flows, the attractions were they were cool and fun to do sometimes, but they were really intrusive.
Yes.
It's
yeah.
like the first time you see them, they're cool. Second time's okay. Third time, it's okay. I could add something else. Fourth time, you just want them gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. As soon as I unlock the pro codes, I just turn those things off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely having the Gigas as as something that you craft and build throughout your adventures through the worlds, and then turn around and use those as your summoning / attraction flow abilities, so that way you could fight against the much bigger monsters, because Darkseid and Quadratum looks absolutely amazing, but it's nearing kaiju levels here.
Exactly, and again,
It's not even nearing it. It's
Going right-
kaiju levels.
and going right back
Godzilla
to Final
for this
Fantasy.
one.
And going right back
Yeah.
to Final Fantasy 16 with those big ass kaiju fights. Can you imagine Gigas versus giant heartless battles? Oh,
Which
that
once
would be
again goes
cool.
back to talking about the potential trajectory
Yeah,
change of that. I feel I'm getting more and more certain that I feel like them working on Final Fantasy 16 is what has directly influenced
gave them
the mind.
ideas.
Yeah,
Gave them ideas for Kingdom Hearts 4. Yeah. I definitely think that's, like, you're onto something there. I don't know if that's what Nomura was referring to, but regardless of whether or not that was something he was referring to, that's absolutely something that happened.
yeah, and it's definitely and there's a lot of pieces on the ground for it. Of course, we're going off of one trailer, and amazing as trailer it is, that's all we've got to go off of. So all of this could be all for naught. So anybody viewing, just take everything that we're speculating with as much grain of salt as possible.
Yeah,
But-
because that's what it is. It's just speculation.
Yeah, it's all speculation in our wants and dreams, but now I really want Sora in a giant mech suit fighting against a giant Heartless. I really want that now.
So, actually, going back to gameplay mechanics, coming back or being removed, we saw elements of flow motion in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer with the wall running and the spinning on poles and sliding on rails and stuff.
Mhm.
But interestingly, we saw Sora use that grapple hook instead of using the air step ability. So do you think that grappling hook is going to kind of be a replacement for air step?
I
Maybe as
think
a-
it might be, but I think it's gonna work mostly exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think it's mainly just
So-
gonna be a visual thing.
So the way I see it is, I personally think it's going to be a command for that kind of thing. Like, we're still going to have the air step, but I think the chain thing in specific is a command. Because he hooked onto a specific thing, and yeah, you can program it to do that, but it seems like it would be a really big hassle to just program it to stick to specific points on literally everything.
I don't know. I mean, to me in the trailer, it looked like it functioned pretty much identically to air step, where he was just kind of honing in on something.
Yeah,
targeted and
Mhm.
zip
I
right to it.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Just
my
without
thoughts on it.
the UI overlay because it's more cinematic.
I'm also just wondering if maybe, similar to how they kind of nerfed flow motion from Dream Drop to Kingdom Hearts 3, if maybe the grappling hook is sort of just a way to kind of nerf air step, because it was sort of broken, right? You could literally zip like halfway across the map with it.
Yeah, and
in
with a
Kingdom Hearts
chain,
3.
you can make an arbitrary
Yeah, a length.
yeah. It
Like, I
very
mean-
similar to the hook shot from everything's gonna go back to Zelda, guys. That this is all that's on my brain. But you know, once again, similar to the hook shot where you could go quite a distance, but there was a link to that, and that also
Link.
it also could tie to the type of keyblades you have, right? Like you could have a keyblade that has a longer chain length that allows you to zip further, but maybe it's not as strong. That could be an
That would
aspect
be
that they could work with.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
was
would be
gonna
very
say because
interesting.
air step did have a limit. It's hard to like actually get to that limit because it's fairly big and most of the maps don't like require you to go beyond that limit or try to go beyond that limit. But I mean, I've done a little bit of map making for Kingdom Hearts 3, and putting air step points is that there is definitely a limit to the distance, but that would be a very creative way of varying the distance limit and possibly giving it like, you know, advantages and disadvantages depending on the length.
That would be
Yeah.
neat, but I think I couldn't see them doing that only because it would hamper the exploration gameplay.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
would
yeah.
lock
yeah.
people into being forced to use certain keyblades at certain points, and I don't think they would really want that.
No,
So
no,
I-
you're
Unless the
right.
limit
Yeah,
was only extended to combat and
Mm,
not to, but yeah. I see
yeah.
what
No, you're
saying.
yeah.
But-
That's the fine point. Like I said, it was just a thought I had literally as it was coming out of my mouth.
So here's my thing is with air step, and the first time the game makes you use it is actually a great example of the flaw with air step and how the chain might fix it. It's a flaw in terms of, I think, at least the way they wanted it to work. I wouldn't consider it a flaw in terms of how it works, but in Olympus, when they first want you to use air step, and they're like, target all of the different points and then the end to get there. If you know what you're doing, you can completely bypass all of those other points to chain off of and just get straight to the end, one shot all the way up.
Yep.
I don't think they intended for that to happen.
I don't know if that's I don't know if that would be correct, because I think, at least as far as I can tell through the way they present it, it is intentional. They just add the extra animation for the flashiness of it, but maybe
Yeah, I'm wondering then if the chain is sort of like, okay, now you have to actually chain off of these different things because the chain has a physical limit to it. Like it can only
Yeah,
go so
maybe.
far.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get too far off subject, I've got two more things I want to talk about, because one of them is super like basic. It's Keyblade leveling, like the stuff we got in KH4. I feel like that's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
come back simply
Yeah,
because of how,
Absolutely.
especially if they're doing form changes, it's coming back.
I would like, and this might be a hard take on it, but I would like to see the Keyblade actually change its look on level like they do in Union Cross.
Oh, that would be cool.
Not every level, mind you. If they do
Just
it
like-
set up in tens, maybe once at 5 and once at 10, but
Mhm.
and maybe it's not a huge change, but I would like to be able to look at a Keyblade and know what level it's sitting at just from the look of it, so that way it feels like that growth.
I don't
I would-
know.
I
I
would
think-
like that if they have a like maybe a post game or unlockable feature where you can change the appearance to any of the levels, regardless
Yeah,
of
Yeah.
what.
Yeah,
That would be
yeah,
cool.
I
Or-
agree to that.
or even I know I'm not a big MMO guy, but I know quite a few games have it where you can have your the hat viewable or not.
Or like a glamour
Like a-
system, or
Like a
whatever.
transmog system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that way you're if you want to have your your maximum level Keyblade, but you kind of really like it at its beginning, like if you really like Rainfall but hate Stormfell, so you just have it look like Rainfall the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that would be my main problem with it, is the design perspective and being able to control what you want it to look like if you don't like the higher level form.
I
But want
agree
the
to
higher
that,
level bonus. Yeah.
but I know what you mean. It's just a cosmetic thing. Like you would keep the stat bonus, but you can choose if you want sort of the lower ascension level design or the higher ascension level design. But it always stays the same power level as the highest stat that you have it at. I think that would be cool, but I don't know if I want that for every Keyblade, because I think there are certain Keyblades that I think should just look the one way. Like the Kingdom Key, I can't really see them evolving that.
Or
I think
Ultima Weapon.
if that were to do, they would apply it to just the Disney World Keyblades and not like the original ones.
Yeah, because I don't want them to make either a lower level or higher level of the Kingdom Key or Oathkeeper and Oblivion or anything like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like those Keyblades, they should look the way they do.
Yeah. They wouldn't serve a purpose like lore wise or anything. It would be just purely because they made that feature, and that would be kind of like weird.
And they could do the thing that Unicross does for at the very least Oathkeeper and Oblivion, to give it like a faint glow, a fainter glow. I do think the Unicross has too much of a glow, but maybe a slight glow to it, or maybe the Minecraft shimmer when it's enchanted.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
But I do agree. I feel like I do completely agree. I feel like Ultima Weapon, Kingdom Key, Oathkeeper, Oblivion, any of Riku's Keyblades, Kairu's Keyblades, so on and so forth. They should stay as they should. It's my main thing is thinking about, like, say you're upgrading your next Olympus blade. From point 1 to point B, it doesn't look any different, so it loses some impact for me on that, because it's like, well, I did all this work, and it's it does better, but it still looks the same. I don't know. Maybe it's the Minecraft in me where it's like, oh, my my netherite sword, it looks a hell of a lot cooler than my stone one.
see that I understand that. I think the only issue I have, right, and especially if they're going to keep form changes, is that every form change has an animation directly tied from that Keyblade physically transforming into its transformation. They would have to make separate animations for every single level of every single Keyblade.
You're right. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Well,
while that's possible, that is a lot of work.
Yeah, we're basically at that point we're asking for a severe limit on the amount of Keyblades that we would want.
Strictly speaking, it wouldn't be the animations, because if they use the same skeleton for each form, that wouldn't be an issue, because the animation is just linked to the skeleton.
It's the model.
The model is the issue. There would be, if there's 3 different forms for Keyblade that has 2 different transformations, that's 9 models for a single Keyblade.
And then I guess you'd have to ask the
not
question.
necessarily the animations, but the models themselves.
But then you also have to ask the question, then, do the form changes also change design as the Keyblade levels up? And then do you have to have different designs for every single level?
They probably would, for, however many forms, they probably would update the form change one as well.
Yeah.
Which
That's a cool idea
model,
too.
not necessarily the animation, but the model.
The cool idea, but I do see the point is that we would basically be asking, could you change it each time? We can do that, but we won't have time to make more Keyblades.
There's either going to be less Keyblades, or the game's just going to take freaking forever to make.
So let us know in the comments what you guys think. Would you want the Keyblades to change to forms or not?
I mean, again, it's a really cool idea. It's just one of the things where I'm trying to think about it from a development perspective of that's a nightmare.
On a logistics standpoint, it is insane.
So with that and the cosmetic side, I actually kind of want to transition to something else.
Are we talking about customization?
That's exactly where I'm going.
We all want to talk about it.
The 0.2 objective system, I want that to return, and I want there to be some kind of cosmetics.
Maybe like side quests. because we already know
Yeah.
that Kotaram is going to be the main world. Go walk around the world, find side quests, and they'll give you rewards like outfits and money and whatnot. It'd be cool.
And
It'd be more than just going from world to world, you know?
And the
And
thing
oh,
with the in terms of like going back to what y'all was saying with like having different models and stuff, the way 0.2 did it was very efficient because they had like 3 different colors for each type. It was the same
Mhm.
model, it's just different texture. It's not a completely different character model, it's just added onto the character model.
Mhm.
yeah.
and
So
So-
that would work better in that.
All right. So here's
So,
the part where Latrix becomes a spoil sport.
oh no.
No.
And this is the
Matrix,
part
man.
where I say I don't really care for the accessory system in 0.2. I'm not saying I would prefer they not have any customization at all, but what I am saying is I don't really want them to do it the way they did it there. And the reason why is because I honestly think it just kind of looks dumb to have like Sora running around with like fairy wings and cat ears. Like,
Yeah, I mean
like
that's fair.
that's the charm.
I get it,
Charm. It
but
looks
at the same
stupid.
time,
It's
like
great.
that just sort of takes me out of it though.
what
It
they
doesn't.
could,
Mm.
what
Well,
they
they-
could
What I
do-
would want, what I would want them to do if they were going to do a customization is maybe like full outfits, like different outfits,
Yeah.
different color
Yeah.
variations of the clothes, just different outfits that Sora can wear. But and if they're going to do accessories, maybe smaller. Like you can give Sora a watch, or you can give Sora glasses, or you can give him a hat or a different hat.
Mhm.
But like, I don't necessarily know if I want to see like Sora running around with, like I
Well,
said,
could
fairy
guaran-
wings
I
and
can
cat ears.
guarantee if they do it, I can guarantee there's gonna be Mickey Mouse ears.
oh yeah.
I
But,
would love
um,
that.
But what they could do, and once again, this might be going into too much story speculation. But if Sora's without Donald and he goes to worlds that he would stand out in, he may have to get an outfit to blend in. Like say
I like
once again going back to the Star Wars world, right? Goes to Star Wars world, he has to get a rebel suit to blend in, right?
That's
And
true
of course
because he wouldn't have Donald's magic anymore to automatically
Yeah.
blend in.
exactly.
Yeah.
So he would grab that outfit and everything. You play through the world, you unlock that outfit.
And then you can wear it after
You
you
can-
defeat after you
And
complete the world.
Yeah.
And I want to know about like with the 0.2 ones, they disappeared during cutscenes. So
Yeah.
it was like it's purely during gameplay. So if there is any kind of goofy like take you out of it stuff, they could just have those disappear during cutscenes.
Yeah,
True,
and-
but at
and
the
once
same
again-
time,
yeah.
that kind of takes you out of it too, because then it feels like what you're doing doesn't really directly correlate to what's happening on screen.
Which and
I-
also one of the funniest things that I found in Kingdom Hearts 2 was when you were in a dry form when the cutscene triggered, and you're just like, "Oh, Sora's in his battle form." Because I was in the dry form when the cutscene triggered. I just thought that was cool to me.
Yeah,
Like-
that was
like,
the coolest thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't,
and the Keyblades showing up in the cutscenes, whatever Keyblade you have equipped shows up. So, but in order to like limit that as well, you could just very well have it where, once again, Sora finds the outfit on the world. You're more or less stuck in that cosmetic outfit for that world. But once you beat it, you're good to use that outfit or whatever other outfit to go to the world because it's not really story centric anymore.
yeah.
And then say for New Game Plus, you're not strictly beholden to having to wear those outfits because you already beat the game. That being a little extra New Game Plus action there, and then if you don't like Sora in the Rebel outfit, you can have Sora in his Kingdom Hearts 4 outfit, and maybe
Yeah,
that's
Treasure
also
Planet
Yeah.
outfit.
yeah.
I agree, and I mean, okay. And look, I understand from a, because there's another game I really, really love, and it has a very similar accessory system, and that's Tales of Arise. And it kind of does the same thing 0.2 did, where you can give them really goofy accessories, or you can give them, like, full outfit recolors, or different clothing options. I think as long as there's more variety, like, as long as it's not just, like, goofy little you know, accessories, and like there are other outfits that you can give Sora that look good, that look cool, I'd be fine with it because I understand, you know, I don't
The
have to
biggest thing,
use
yeah,
a fairy wings and cat ears.
yeah. The biggest thing for me that the reason I loved it so much in 0.2 is it gave me a reason to do these bonus objectives and random things or whatever it was to unlock them. Because, you know, even if it's just a silly thing, if I want to use it, I gotta do that, and it gives me
Yeah.
more reason to play. And
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
like terribly hard, and it just makes more reason to play more or to replayability and everything.
I feel like that's actually a thing that a lot of shorter games do, is they add more little like gameplay incentives to go out of your way to extend your gameplay time. And I kind of wish
Mhm.
longer full-size games did that because what is it? Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. It kind of does a similar thing where it ties unlocks to exploration and whatnot, whereas the base game doesn't. So Future Redeemed being an expansion, it's much shorter. It's only one zone as opposed to like 5 whole continents. It really encourages that exploration, that go out of your way to do this mentality. Because it's a shorter game, it wants you to extend your playtime.
Mhm.
I feel like, you know, 0.2 being like a 2-hour long game, it's kind of doing the same thing. It's adding these things that make you want to go out of your way to play it longer.
Yeah,
And
Mhm.
that's exactly what it was for 0.2, and the same reason why I want them to add it to 3 is because it just adds more, or not to 3, to 4, because it just adds more reasons to want to play it more.
Yeah.
I feel like with these. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say what, you know, if they want to fill the world, because, you know, obviously since Kingdom Hearts 1 they have actually added NPCs to the background. Just listen to those cheers. But you know, if they want to make Quadratum specifically feel a little bit more lived in and everything, Sora could have to do side quests there. Well, not have to, but the rewards could be those small, you know, maybe, you know, you get a different shirt unlock. Maybe, you know, if you do a specific a thing, you get Sora's Kingdom Hearts 1 outfit. Similar enough to Tears of the Kingdom, where you can get a whole bunch of outfits from other games, you know, and just by unlocking it doesn't have any story related purposes for the most part, but you know, and you're not forced to do it, but you know, god damn it, I want Sora in his red onesie.
So like,
So I
that-
just thought of something
Uh-oh.
because you were talking about like make Quadratum feel more lived in. It made me think of another game made by
That's
the Kingdom Hearts
not
team.
Tears of the Kingdom? Okay.
It made me think of another game made by the Kingdom Hearts team. You might know what game I'm referring to. The World Ends With You,
Yeah, I need to play that.
where different outfits give you different bonuses, different stat bonuses.
That could
I'm
be a thing,
wondering
too.
then.
oh, that could be incentive to like try out new
Well,
things.
I haven't
Exactly.
played 12. I haven't played The World Ends With You 1, but I did play Neo: The World Ends With You. Gosh, but the outfits were basically just like armor pieces. Like they didn't actually visually change anything, though.
No, I know, but I mean, basically apply that, except make them actual clothing pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That. Yeah.
You know, it's the
So
same
that-
idea.
And I
Same
mean,
idea.
you know, for Sora, it's just as easy. You could do jacket, shirt, or maybe shirt and pants, or rather, you do. No, would you do
You know-
jacket? Because I'm trying to think. You would change your top and your pants, in pants and shoes. Like get.
So think about
the
fact that-
Quadratum.
So think about the fact that Kingdom Hearts usually you have 3 armor slots, and then like 2 accessory slots.
Yeah, that's what you start with at
I
least.
mean, yeah, but they can, or you start with 1 and 1, but they can be expanded.
Basically, just turn those into outfit slots, and then you can buy clothing items from stores in Quadratum.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's supposed to be a realistic city.
So that's the
And
thing I
instead of
was.
having, armor pieces and rings and, all that stuff, you're just buying clothes and equipping different clothes. They both change how Sora looks and his stats. You could also have restaurants, sort of like you had in Neo: The World Ends With You, that give you meals that give you different effects, sort of like the meals in KH3. Because honestly, let's face it, pretty much every game has a meal system like that now. They're not getting rid of that.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter did it first.
I feel like with the armor slot, as long as they're like upgradable, like the Keyblades, I would be okay with them having stats with the outfits, just because I don't want it to be like, oh, I feel like I have to use this because it has the best stats, even though I don't really like the look of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be as easy as adding a tailor NPC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, because I cannot get away from Zelda, it'd be like getting your items upgraded at the Great Fairy.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, that's sort of what I mean when I just say like those are sort of gameplay aspects that I'd really like to see in terms of like customization.
I love when we have a moment of pause and then everyone talks at once. It's the greatest.
Yeah, it's so fun because we're like,
we're scuffed.
I was just waiting to see if anybody would talk.
Okay, Finn, go.
We are nearing an hour, so
let's let Finn get his last point out, and then we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to customization, one thing that I would like to see, is like they could have normal clothes where it could be like you could have styles for them, and then you could have like an RGB circle to choose which color you want, and then they would have the special suits, which are like KH1, KH2, KH3, that have their own styles and color out palettes, but also the color wheel, which I think that would be pretty cool.
It just makes me think, like, you talking about like different styles. It's like if they went like the Twelve route, like, do you think they would have like different like brands that could all be like named, like the names of the brands could all be like different references?
I think they did something similar to that in 15, didn't they?
I don't know if they did the color thing or not,
They
but I
didn't
know
do the
they
color
did have.
thing. No. Yeah.
Yeah, but like there was a style with Noctis where there's two styles where it was regular outfit with and without the jacket.
That's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like if they had like different brands, the names of the brands could be like references to other aspects of the Kingdom Hearts series. So you could have like a line of like black leather clothing that's like all named after like Organization 13.
Yeah, they could do a lot, because the wonderful thing about the Kingdom Hearts is they've got two whole companies to draw inspiration from for just little name things.
Yeah.
They could grab anything from Disney and anything from Square Enix. It's you could literally wear a black and white outfit called To Be or Not to Be a line, and then turn around and pick up an outfit that has you walking around with a hat that's Pluto.
All right, all I'm gonna say is this: if they add clothing customization, I want those Super Groupies outfits in the game.
Amen.
Oh, absolutely.
Amen.
Gotta add them.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
So, like, when I talk about styles, I'm thinking like, for if you could get KH1 Sora's outfit, you could have a Donald or a Goofy style, or maybe based off one of your allies from the game from Kingdom Hearts 1 that join you for specific worlds. And for like Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit, you could get like all of the drive forms.
Yeah. And what you
I
could
think that
also
would be
do is
cool.
get you could get Sora in both the dark mode suit that
Yes.
Rico has and Vanitas' suit, so you could quote unquote cosplay as Vanitas going through.
Imagine having
cool.
having like brand product placement. Like you could just get like Sora wearing Jordans.
Fucking health potions are changed to Monster Energy drink.
I mean, he's
No,
already
Mountain Dew.
wearing like he's already wearing like
Mountain
Converse
Dew,
or
the
something.
gamer drink.
Nah, you're collecting Mountain Dew cans out of like vending machines. That's how you get potions.
It's not called Mountain Dew. It's called Kingdom
probably
Dew.
going to be like, because they did that in Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you
Olympus
got
Mountain
potions
Dew.
and stuff from a vending machine.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna be hitting vending machines quite a bit. I would.
I want
imagine.
that Death Stranding monster energy where it just makes you run twice as fast.
Yeah, but unfortunately, if we get the monster energy, we also have to remember to take Sword to the bathroom quite often.
Can we get Jeff Keighley to have a cameo in the game as well? Just like he did in Death Stranding.
Oh god, it's truly the master of masters.
There you go.
There
you go.
it is.
Have the master take off his hood, and it's just Jeff Keighley underneath.
Who are you? I'm the Dorito Pope.
He's got to be wearing like a suit jacket and then shorts.
Yeah, he takes off the
wacky
jacket.
ass
It's
shoes.
just the outfit he wears for the game.
Yeah, and then like Jordans.
Well, with that, we are over an hour now.
We got
Thank you,
way
everybody,
into
for
it.
watching.
Yeah.
If you have other things that you would like to for us to talk about, let us know in the comments below, as well as let us know what you're expecting in Kingdom Hearts 4, or what you're hoping for and what you're not hoping for. Where do you stand on flow motion attractions? Are they terrible? Or are they obnoxious? You only get the two options. And Latrix, sign us out.
Yeah, so that's gonna basically do it for episode 2. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening. It's been fun. I have no idea what we're gonna talk about next time yet, so
We'll
I
figure
guess
it out.
We'll figure that out.
Do it live.
But go ahead. This is the Keyblade Forge and the Guiding Keys podcast signing off. I have been Master Latrix, and may your heart be your guiding key. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
See ya.